Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the regular meeting of the Business, Housing, and Zoning Committee. My name is Jamal Osman. I'm the chair of this committee. Before we begin the meeting, I want to remind all members, staff, and the public that this meeting are broadcast live to enable greater public participation. They include real-time captioning to increase the accessibility of our proceeding to the community. Therefore, all speakers need to be mindful of the rate of their speech so that our captioners can fully transcribe all comment and broadcast. We ask all speakers to moderate the speed and clarity of their comment. We'll be using speaker management, so please log in. At this time, I will ask City Clerk to call the roll so we can verify a quorum.
Councilmember Rainville.
Present.
Cashman.
Present.
Jenkins is absent. Chowdhury.
Present.
Vice Chair Ellison.
Here.
And Chair Osman.
Here.
There are 5 members present.
Let the record reflect we have a quorum. I want everybody to know that we have a large agenda in front of us today, so we need to be done by 4 p.m. today. Additionally, we have a 7 public hearing today. So please sign up with the clerk if you want to speak. All right, before we proceed to the public hearing, we are taking on our agenda. We will first take our consent agenda, which is item 8 through 25. Item 8 is approving a 5 liquor license. Item 9 is approving 24 liquor license renewals. Item 10 is approving a 3 gambling license. Item 11 is approving a 9 gambling license renewals. Item 12 is approving amended business license operation condition for Pizzeria Lola. Item 13 is approving a restaurant license with business license operating condition for Hammer Wayne Cafe. Item 14 is approving a rezoning ordinance for property located at 2933 5th Avenue South. Item 15 is approving a subordination of existing loan to Provision LLC. Item 16 is authorizing a loan forgiveness to the Joseph Faggio Initiative Project at multiple properties. Item 17 is authorizing a loan forgiveness to Exodus Housing for the St. Olaf Development Project at 819 2nd Avenue South. Item 18 is authorizing a loan forgiveness to Emerge Community Development at 1834 Emerson Avenue North. Item 19 is authorizing a loan forgiveness to the Little Earth Tribal Housing Corporation. Item 20 is accepting a Youth at Work grant for the state for employee and training services. Item 21 is accepting multiple state grants also for employment training services. Item 22 is approving appointment to the Minneapolis Advisory Committee on Housing for C10. Item 23 is a resolution approving a land sale from Hennepin County Housing and Redevelopment Authority. Item 24 is approving amendment to the City Tenant Relocation Assistant Legislative Director. Lastly, item 25 is referring to the staff on ordinance related to the zoning code. With that, do any of my colleagues have any questions? Council member, I'll recognize Council member Rainville.
Actually, Councilmember Cashman.
Sure.
You ahead of me.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. There's a lot to celebrate on this consent agenda, so there are 2 items that I just want to thank staff for all their hard work on. The first one is number 17. St. Olaf Exodus Project is going to be building over, I think, 200 units of supportive housing. 72 units of supportive housing in downtown, and I really want to thank Aeon, St. Olaf, and Westminster Presbyterian Church for their collaboration to bring this new housing to downtown, and all the staff who've worked on this loan. And then secondly, the new operator for the Kohl Center for Dance closed last year, and the dance community really spoke out and said, like, this is the premier stage for dance, and we need this community opportunity back. And so I'm really grateful that the city has been able to step up and fund the restoration and operation of the Kohl Center. And so thank you so much to the CPED and Arts and Cultural Affairs staff who have worked really hard to find new operator for this space, and I'm excited to see this collaboration between both Xenon Dance Company and Arts Nest. So thank you so much for that. The other two items that I just wanted to ask a couple of questions to Director Hansen, so number 19 and 20, loan forgiveness for Emerge and loan forgiveness for Little Earth. I did see in the RCA that there wasn't any like fiscal impact, so can you just help me understand where the budget comes for this?
Chair Osmond, Councilmember Cashman, and Mayor Hansen. I'm the Director of Community Planning and Economic Development. And on those two issues that you raised, these are existing loans, and it's resetting the terms for those loans. So I have an impact on the repayment, and those are articulated and enumerated inside the staff report. And if we want to get into those details, I can have the staff come up.
Thanks. I'm just wondering if this is going to impact our budget next year, because if these are unforeseen expenses on the city side.
Chair Osmond, Councilmember Cashman, these were loans that were being serviced through the department. This won't have any budget impacts. We're still receiving payments in the first one, the Emerged Community Development. And let me look at the details for the Little Earth project. But it won't, if it has any, it won't have any consequential impacts on the budget.
Okay, thank you.
I'll recognize Councilmember Rainville.
Thank you. I also have a question for Director Hansen. Is the staff person who worked on the St. Olaf housing project in the audience? If you could stand up so I could thank you publicly. I know this has been a really long, and it's not over. When I talked to Bishop Kenny, he has the patience of a saint, patience of a bishop. But we can't do this without you. And you've been very good and diligent and hanging in there. He speaks very highly of the city staff, so I just want to pass on his praises to you. Thank you.
Right.
Chair Osmond
yes.
and Councilmember Rainville, thank you so much. That's Carrie Goldberg for the record.
Thank you. See no one else. I will move approval of all consent agenda. All those in favor say aye. Aye. And those opposed say nay. The ayes have it and the motion carries. Now we will proceed to the public hearing portion of our agenda. First, we have a public hearing for on-sale liquor and general entertainment license for Puttshack located at 703rd Avenue, 3rd Street North. I welcome Greg Elison from Business. Welcome.
Thank you, Chair Osmond and committee members. I am District Supervisor Craig Eliason with the Licenses and Consumer Services Division. I'm presenting an application today from Puttshack, Minneapolis, LLC, doing business as Puttshack. The business is located at 700 3rd Street North in the North Loop of Ward 3. This application is for a new on-sale liquor license with Sunday sales and general entertainment. The applicant is proposing a new upscale, tech-infused mini golf venue with a full-service bar and restaurant. The venue is located on the first floor of a mixed-use building with 23,310 square feet of space and 219 interior seats. No exterior seating is proposed. The proposed hours of operation are Monday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 1 a.m., and Sunday, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. On June 23, 2025, public hearing notices were sent to residents and property owners within 450 feet of the premises, the North Loop Neighborhood Organization, Warehouse Business Association, and Councilmember Rainville. We have received 2 comments from the community, one in support from the North Loop Neighborhood Association and one opposed, citing concerns that late-night entertainment and alcohol service may disrupt the peace of the surrounding neighborhood. A review of any complaints, 311 calls, or police calls found no significant issues concerning the issuance of this license. The Licenses and Consumer Services Division recommends approval of the on-sale liquor license with Sunday sales and general entertainment. This concludes my presentation, and I will now stand for any questions or comments. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that presentation. I'm going to proceed to open the public hearing and go through the list here. First, I have Ryan Nowick. Welcome, sir.
Good afternoon. My name is Ryan Nowicki. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of Puttshack. And as the gentleman previously mentioned, had the opportunity to present our business to the North Loop Neighborhood Association, and just, are excited to bring the Puttshack experience to the city of Minneapolis.
Thank you so much for your testimony. Next person is Ben Vincent. Is Ben here? Hi, welcome.
Hey. Yeah, Ben Vincent. I'm with Animales Barbecue, so I don't know. I think I'm too
We got you on the wrong list, yeah.
All right.
No, I'm sorry. Okay, next person is Honor Dodson. Honor Dodson. Right? See, is it Howard?
Yes,
Welcome.
sorry about my penmanship.
You're right. Welcome.
Thank you, Chair, council members. I've sent you multiple emails requesting that you consider an ordinance that if you have a liquor license, you have to publish your dress code on your website, your front door, and any promotional materials for any liquor license you approve. There's a civil rights case that's active with the Moose Bar and Grill. 35 African Americans have been turned away for unpublished dress code, no sweats after 8. After investigating more, we're finding out more bars have unpublished dress codes.
Point of order, we're talking about the Puttshack?
Yeah,
I'm talking about this new liquor license, and I'm asking you for an ordinance that
But Howard,
if they have a dress code, they should publish it.
Howard, if it's not germane to Puttshack specifically, then you're
I'm
out of
asking
order.
for this particular and all liquor licenses that you have dress codes, publish them.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for catching up. Is there anyone else who would like to speak? See no one else, I'll close the public hearing and I'll recognize Councilmember Rainville for approval.
Thank you. I would like to move approval of this. And Ryan, before you leave, I'd like to give you my business card in case you have any questions. Happy to help facilitate your new business. Thank you for investing.
Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. With that motion, all those in favor say aye. Aye. And those opposed say nay. The ayes have it and the motion carries. All right, next we have a public hearing for on-sale liquor and general entertainment and 2 a.m. license for Animal Barbecue Company located at 241 Fremont Avenue. I will welcome up Sarah Grace from Business Licensing to speak more about this item. Welcome.
Thank you, Chair Osmond and committee members. I'm License Inspector Sarah Grace with Licenses and Consumer Services Division. I'm presenting an application from Animales Barbecue Management, LLC, doing business as Animales Barbecue, located at 241 Fremont Avenue North in Ward 5. The applicant is requesting an on-sale liquor, general entertainment with Sunday sales, extended hours license. If approved, they intend to open a full-service, sit-down barbecue restaurant serving mixed cocktails and beer with seating for 207, featuring live Americana music, both inside and outside on a private patio that seats 80. The restaurant will be taking over the unit formerly housed by the Royal Foundry Craft Spirits, and the other unit in that building currently houses Ladonia. There will be no operating conditions for this license. The hours of operation will be Monday through Sunday, 10 a.m. to 1 a.m., both inside and outside on the private patio. On June 26, 2025, public hearing notices were sent to residents, property owners, and posted on all residential buildings with 4 or more units within 600 feet of the premises. Notices were also sent to the Harrison Neighborhood Association and Councilmember Ellison. We've received no comments from the community. A review of any complaints, 311 calls, police calls, and any operating conditions found no significant issues concerning the business and issuance of this license. The Licenses and Consumer Division Consumer Services Division recommends approval of an on-sale liquor general entertainment with Sunday sales extended hours license. This concludes my presentation. At this time, I will stand for any comments or questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that presentation. I'm going to proceed to open the public hearing and now recognize Ben Vincent to come up.
Hello again.
Hi.
I'm Ben Vincent, president of Animales Barbecue, and we're excited to be part of the Harrison community.
Thank you so much. Is there anyone else who would like to speak on this item? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and recognize Vice Chair Allison.
Happy to move approval of this item, and great to see this space get repopulated and with a new business. And Harrison's a great neighborhood, so happy to welcome Animales. And I love the food truck. As a Muslim, I'm not always able to partake in the menu, but it's a great food truck. You guys are in a fantastic business, and it's an honor to have you guys on the north side. So thank you so much for the investment. So with that, I move approval.
Thank you so much. I'll recognize Councilmember Cashman.
Thank you, Chair Osman. And this neighborhood is really adjacent to Ward 7, just on the border with Bryn Mawr. And I know that Bryn Mawr neighborhood is also very excited about Animales coming into this space. I do just have one question for you, Ben, about the timing. How late during the weekdays will you be selling food? I think you're open until 1 a.m., if I heard correctly, every day of the week?
So to begin, it's Thursday through Sunday.
Thursday through
And then it'll be
Sunday.
added on from there
So you'll only be open on Thursday through Sunday
to start.
to start, and until 1 a.m.?
I mean, that somewhat depends on what the business, how the guests perceive it in the end. But I would expect it not really pushing to 1. That's not necessarily the environment, but if there is like an indoor event or concert that leads later, then up to 1 a.m.
Great. I just wanted to support the late night food. I know lots of Bryn Mawr residents are always looking for more food options because it's a very residential neighborhood with not a lot of commercial, and they're very supportive of having more options and having places to eat in the evening. So thank you for initiating and offering that.
Well, thank you. It's going to be fun. It should open in September.
Great.
Wonderful. Thank you. See no one else. With that motion from Councilmember Ellison, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed say nay. The ayes have it and the motion carries. Now we have a public hearing for extended hours and operation license for Mr. Desert and Kumbir located at 339 22nd Avenue. I welcome Phil Cottrell from Business Licensing to speak more about this item. Welcome, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Chair Osman and committee members. My name is Phil Cottrell. I'm a lead license inspector with Licenses and Consumer Services. I'm presenting an application from Mrs. Desert and Compere, owned by Mrs. Desert and Compere LLC at 339 22nd Avenue Northeast, located in Ward 1. The applicant is requesting an extended hours of operation license at the current business. The daily interior hours of operation will be from 11 a.m. till 2 a.m. The daily exterior hours of operation on a private patio will be from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. On June the 24th, 2025, public hearing notices were sent to property owners within 300 feet of the premises. Notices were also sent to the Holland Neighbourhood Improvement Association and Councilmember Payne. We have received 4 replies from the community, 2 in favour and 2 not in favour, that stated issues with parking, noise and late night activity. There have been no recent 311 or police calls that can be attributable to the business. The Licenses and Consumer Service Division recommends approval of an extended hours of operation license for Mrs. Desert and Compere. This concludes my presentation. At this time, I will stand for any comments or questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that presentation. First, I'm going to proceed to open the public hearing and see if there's anyone who would like to speak on this item. See none, I'll close the public hearing and...
Councilmember Osman, there's one person signed up.
I'm
She's
sorry.
about to grab
Oh,
it.
she's about to come. I'm so sorry. I will open the public hearing and recognize Michelle. Or is it Michael? I'm sorry. Michael, please, welcome.
Well, thank you, Chair and Council members. My name is Michael Mukallad. So I'm here represent for two items, the items 3 and 4, Mrs. Desserts and Compere and Ryan Food Emporium, located at 307 East Lake Street. So thank you for the opportunity to speak today. I'm here to request approval for our extended hours license. So we've built a strong relationship, respectful with the community, and we've been seeing increasing demand from customers who want a safe and welcoming spot for late night food and desserts, especially on weekends and during events. People come out later, and this extension would help us meet their needs. We've committed to being good neighbors, keeping the area clean and quiet, ensuring safety and order, and continuing to operate responsibly as we have since opening. We believe this license will not only support our business, but also added value to the neighborhood by offering family-friendly option late into the evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Michael, for your testimony. See if there's anyone else who would like to speak. See none, I'll close the public hearing. You can sit down, sir.
Thank you.
I'll close the public hearing and recognize Councilmember Rainville.
Thank you. I have a question for staff on the report. I'm wondering, have the police signed off on this, the second precinct?
Council Chair Osmond, Councilman Ravel, Inspector Torberg from the second precinct has signed off on.
Okay, great. So there was gun shots from this location, and they instituted some late night safety, a security guard in there. Is that security guard still going to be posted in there?
I'll have to get that information for you, yeah. I don't have that information to hand.
Well, I need that information to decide how I'm going to vote.
Chair Osmond, Councilmember Rainville. The owner does indicate there's a security guard will be posted. Just a little background, we did meet with Inspector Torberg because at the time the applicant applied for both licenses, one down on Lake Street and one in the northeast location. Inspector Torberg was comfortable with the granting of this license. They had a temporary extended hours license during Ramadan this spring, and the inspector indicated that there was no issues. So he kind of thought that was a good trial run, and he was in support of granting the license. But maybe the owner can speak too, but I believe that security guard is part of the security plan.
Please.
Welcome, Michael.
Well, thank you again for the opportunity, and then I'm standing for any question.
Yes,
Go ahead, please.
my question is, I actually stopped by about a month ago with Inspector Torberg, and you had a security guard in there, which was wonderful.
That's correct.
Keeps it much safer, because again, there's been violence out of that location, and the neighbors don't want violence. So my question is, are you going to continue having the security guard until, if you close at 2 a.m., you might have to have that security guard there till 2:30 or 3 a.m. Is that in your business plan?
That's correct, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to add something also. We have received like a few supports via email, on papers, and also like verbally. It's just like support the late night desserts, because we're the only in the like few blocks around selling the halal food and zero alcohol. And then because we felt welcome into the neighborhood, I have 4 kids. We moved to Northeast lately, and then my kids riding bikes all day, walking to the park. I have 2 teenagers, so they go back and forth to the park. If I wouldn't feel like I'm welcome to the neighborhood, we wouldn't bring my kids and walking and going back and forth and riding bikes into the neighborhood.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I have put myself included. I support this license, and this is a great place for my family and I to go and really get some great dessert. I remember having a conversation with Council President Payne back around Ramadan, and it was really great to get the extension of hours. This is a family-friendly environment. I'm really not aware of any violence that took place, but this is a family-friendly place where people come and really enjoy wonderful dessert. So thank you so much, Michael, for doing business with the City of Minneapolis, and I will move approval for this item and also recognize Councilmember Cashman first.
Thank you, Chair Osman. I was also going to move approval. Just wanted to note that I had a good friend from Turkey move to Minneapolis to go to grad school at the University of Minnesota, and we really searched far and wide to find Turkish food in Minneapolis and landed at Mrs. Dessert in Kumpir. So last time I was in Turkey, I was a vegetarian and was so happy to eat kumpir because of the potato base. So thank you so much for offering that really delicious cuisine in our city.
Vice Chair Ellison.
I'm going to be supporting the motion, obviously. So thank you for doing business. You've got 2 locations here. I support it. It was Councilmember Cashman mentioned earlier that there aren't enough late night options. You've got a late night option that's alcohol free. That's really an amenity to the community. I want to make sure that I don't come off as a little bit too preachy here, but I think that when we've got businesses that are willing to do, that are willing to open in our communities, that are bringing their culture, that are sharing their food, that bring their families, I mean, we had this applicant up here just having to justify that he is committed to safety because he's got a family as well, which I'm glad that the applicant felt good to share that with us, but we shouldn't be making applicants stand up here and give that kind of testimony. I think that the line of questioning that he was subjected to, quite frankly, was inappropriate. I think it perpetuates a kind of, vague Islamophobia that I don't think this council should stand for. I won't stand for it, and so I don't regard it as intentional, Councilmember Rainville. So I'm not going to sit here and make that claim. But I think that we need to check ourselves, and that if we've got genuine safety concerns, then call the inspector, call staff, go meet with the business. But to sit here and embarrass him in public broadcast when he's doing an excellent job with his business, when he has approval and he has a signature from the police department, I don't think is appropriate. And I want us to make sure that we watch ourselves and that we don't perpetuate that kind of thing, and that we don't make applicants who are coming to do business in our city and serve our communities feel a little unwelcomed or on the spot, like they've got to justify their humanity to us to get this license. You deserve this license because you've earned it, because you run a good business. So thank you so much. And I just want us to do better in the future when we have questions like that.
Thank you, Councilmember Allison. I'll recognize Councilmember Chowdhury.
Thank you, Chair Osman. I just wanted to express my support for this license as well, and just say thank you so much for doing business in the city of Minneapolis. I have been to late night dessert spots, specifically during Ramadan, because that's when people are really, really looking for that. But I know community members who don't share my faith also are looking for places where you don't have to drink in order to be out and just spend a little extra time. I've seen these businesses really successful out in the suburbs, just have like lines of people there just looking for a fun, welcoming place to hang out. And I just while experiencing that myself, I was like, we need to have something like this in the city of Minneapolis, because the people in the city of Minneapolis that want to experience something like this are going out into the suburbs to have that experience. And so I'm just excited to see this move forward and also create a place for all Minneapolis residents of all different faiths, backgrounds, to just have a place to go to after 8 p.m. Where they can spend time with their friends, their family, or maybe they just want to get on their laptop and do a little extra work, and they found that late night spot where they can do it while getting some Dubai chocolate cake.
Great. Thank you so much. Seeing no one else, with that motion for approval, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed say nay. The ayes have it, and the motion carries. Thank you. All right, our last public hearing is for conveyance of properties that are located Upper Harbor Terminal site. I will welcome Hillary Holmes.
Councilmember Osmond, there's one
there's-
public hearing before that.
Oh, there's one before that.
It is the same business name, but it's a different location.
Thank you for the reminder. Thank you so much. All right, we're still on the public hearing. Now we have a public hearing for extended hours operation with business license operation for a different Mistress Dessert and Kumbeer located at 307 Lake Street. I welcome Beth Dominicus, right?
Hi.
That's it?
Yes,
Yep.
thank you.
From Business License to speak. Welcome.
Thank you, Chair Osman and committee members. I am Licensed Inspector Beth Dominguez with Licenses and Consumer Services. I'm presenting an application from Ryan Food Emporium LLC, doing business as Mrs. Desserts and Kumpier, located at 307 Lake Street East in Ward 9. The applicant is requesting an extended hours license. If approved, they intend to extend their hours to the following: 11 a.m. to midnight for a conditional 6-month period, and after, without any condition violations, extend closing time to 2 a.m. daily. There is no outdoor patio area. And on June 24th, 37 public hearing notices were sent to residents, the Potterhorn Neighborhood Association, Lake Street Business Association, and Councilmember Jenkins. We have received no comments from the community. And review of complaints 311 and police calls have found no significant issues concerning the business. The Licenses and Consumer Services Division recommends approval of an extended hours license. This concludes my presentation, and I stand with any questions.
Thank you so much for that presentation. I will proceed to open the public hearing and see if there is anyone who would like to speak on this item. See, now I'll close this public hearing, and also we have been joined by Councilmember Jenkins, who represents this ward, this location. I'll recognize her for any.
Thank you, Chair Osman, and I guess I just want to extend my congratulations to moving to Ward 8 and bringing this business. You know, I mean, I certainly share the concerns that we want to have a safe space, but I believe that, you know, we need to make sure that we are giving people a chance to operate in good faith and then see how that goes. So welcome to Ward 8, and I would be happy to move this item for approval.
Thank you. With that motion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed say nay. The ayes have it, and the motion carries. Thank you. All right, our last item of public hearing is conveyance of properties that are located at Upper Harbor Terminal site. I'll welcome Hillary Holmes from Seabed to give us the presentation. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Chair Osmond, committee members. I'm Hillary Holmes, a senior project coordinator in CPED, working on the redevelopment of the city-owned Upper Harbor site. Among the multiple actions related to the Community Performing Arts Center in front of you today, CPED is recommending approval of terms for a redevelopment and funding agreement for Port of Minneapolis LLC to construct the Community Performing Arts Center, terms for a long-term lease and use agreement for Port of Minneapolis LLC to operate the Community Performing Arts Center, and appropriation of $3 million to complete the parkway on the Upper Harbor site. I will describe those actions, but first we'll provide some background and an update on our work on the site. The Upper Harbor is a 52-acre site that operated as a barge shipping terminal until 2015. The site is currently the largest redevelopment site in the city. Redevelopment is guided by the coordinated plan that the City Council adopted in 2021, following extensive community engagement. The site is and will remain entirely publicly owned. The redevelopment of the Upper Harbor is reconnecting and opening up the riverfront to the north side. It is an extension of the McKinley neighborhood while also serving as a regional destination and providing regional level amenities. The first phase of development will include a riverfront park, affordable housing, and an outdoor music performance venue known as the Community Performing Arts Center. We're making progress preparing the site for redevelopment, as these before and after photos show. Last year, the city, MPRB, and our partners celebrated completion of the city's Phase 1 street and utility project and groundbreaking for the regional park. The city sold 20 acres to MPRB for this new regional park, which will provide public access to 1 mile of riverfront. MPRB anticipates a spring 26 opening. In continuation of this work, we plan to construct the remaining section of Parkway, shown as Phase 2 on this slide, which will complete the new segment of West River Road on the Upper Harbor site. The Parkway provides multimodal access to the riverfront and prepares riverfront parcels for private development. The many actions before you today facilitate the development of the Community Performing Arts Center, a key part of the coordinated plan. The Community Performing Arts Center, or CPAC, project will provide an 8,000 to 8,500 capacity venue in an outdoor amphitheater setting. The venue will host outdoor events from May to October with performances ranging from local productions to national touring acts. A portion of the venue will be enclosed for smaller events on a year-round basis. In 2023, First Avenue Productions and the Minnesota Orchestra announced their partnership as Port of Minneapolis, LLC, or POM, to jointly develop and operate the CPAC. The agreements between the city and POM include multiple community benefits. POM has also prepared a community benefits strategy for the CPAC to provide the following benefits to the community: community participation in the development of the CPAC, employment opportunities in the construction and operation, including vendor opportunities, programming and activation, and living wage jobs and career pathways to generate wealth for the community. In 2023, POM announced their partnership, the coordinated plan established the role of a community partner to realize key elements of the plan and support the delivery of CPAC commitments made to the community. In 2023, POM announced their partnership with the African American Community Development Corporation, AACDC, as the community partner for the CPAC. As the community partner, AACDC will ensure the benefits from the construction and operation of the CPAC are available to the community by fulfilling the following roles: being the recipient and manager of a community fund, which will be funded by a $3 contribution per concert ticket, providing a community voice and decision-making input regarding which artists are brought into the venue for community events, providing guidance and accountability for POM's community benefit strategy initiatives. POM and AACDC have committed to this partnership and have executed a community benefits agreement. There are also key agreements that the city and POM will enter into for the CPAC, shown as Parcel 3 on this site map, as well as Parcels 7A and 7B. As referenced, there will be a redevelopment and funding agreement for POM to construct the CPAC in Parcel 3. There will be a lease and use agreement for POM to operate the CPAC. Per the coordinated plan, the city will retain ownership of the land and convey the properties through long-term leases. The long-term operation of the CPAC will be the responsibility of POM. The initial term of the lease and use agreement will be 20 years, with possible renewals up to 50 years. Under the lease and use agreement, POM will operate the facility and pay all operating costs. For the term of the lease and use agreement, POM must provide the city with annual reports on the activities at the facility and the actions of POM to further the community benefit strategy. Like other state bond projects, POM must report on its revenues, expenses, and budget projections to assure that the project is financially stable and is meeting the intended governmental program. There will be a long-term lease for Parcels 7A and 7B, on which POM will develop and operate a surface parking and rideshare lot. The public hearings today relate to these actions. We are joined here today by representatives from Port of Minneapolis, including both First Avenue Productions and the Minnesota Orchestra, the AACDC, and also United Properties. This concludes my presentation. I would like to invite up at this time Dana Frank, CEO, First Avenue Productions, Ivan Winship, Chief Financial Officer, Minnesota Orchestra, and Keith Baker, Board President of AACDC, to make a few remarks. I will be available for questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Should we make that on the public hearing? Or is it, do they have their own presentation to? They have them. Okay.
They would like to make a few marks ahead of the public hearing as possible.
Sounds great.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Welcome.
Hi, good afternoon, Chair Osman, Vice Chair Ellison, council members. I'm Dana Frank. I'm the President, CEO of First Avenue Productions. I'm here to ask for your support in advancing the staff recommendation just presented. The Design and Community Benefits Program of Upper Harbor has been shaped by almost a decade of deep community involvement, more than 140 public events, constantly changing and adapting the vision to reflect the needs of North Minneapolis. Since the amphitheater was first included in the 2017 Upper Harbor Concept Plan, we've reached a number of key milestones. In 2019, approval of coordinated plan and the establishment of the Collaborative Planning Committee, which consisted of 15 Northside community members who spent hundreds of hours passionately discussing the project. In 2020, the CPC approved the plan, and the exclusive rights agreement was approved and state bonding was awarded. In 2021, the coordinated plan was adapted. In 2022, pre-development funding was awarded and the partnership with the Minnesota Orchestra was established. In 2023, schematic design was completed and the community engagement framework was established with the African American Development Community Corporation. And in 2025, just the last couple months, the council accepted the state grant and approved the MPCA noise ordinance, clearing the way for construction. And we are now shovel ready. One cornerstone of this project that originated from the community engagement process is the $3 per ticket community benefit fee, projected to exceed $500,000 annually. That revenue, overseen by the African American CDC, has the opportunity to fund Northside and BIPOC vendor opportunities at ticketed and non-ticketed events, skills-based certificate programs and apprenticeship programs, public art, cultural programming, and free and low-cost community events. Additionally, this site will include a year-round multi-purpose room to serve as flexible community space for public gatherings, educational opportunities, and cultural celebrations. This project is more than just a venue. It's a long-term investment in local economic vitality, workforce development, and inclusive access to the arts. It's a new model of what cultural infrastructure can look like when it's built through authentic community engagement, public purpose, with committed local partners. Council members, for the last decade, we've met in park board buildings, school gyms, theaters, coffee shops, you name it. You and your predecessors helped shape this project. Let's take the final step, move the project forward for a full council vote, and create the cherished community asset Minneapolis deserves. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, council members. My name is Ivan Winship, and I'm the Chief Financial Officer for the Minnesota Orchestra. We are here asking for your support on this project. The Minnesota Orchestra is excited to be part of the revitalization of the Northside Riverfront and bringing live outdoor music to the community. The Community Performing Arts Center project and its community benefits are unique. The amphitheater brings together two pillars of the Minnesota arts ecosystem, First Avenue and the Minnesota Orchestra. Through this partnership, the CPAC will infuse $500,000 annually to a community fund, which you just heard about. In total, over half of all profits of the facility will go to Minnesota nonprofit organizations like the Minnesota Orchestra and the Northside community, the AACDC. Additionally, the CPAC will generate annual sales and income tax revenues, further deepening the community impact. We thank you and hope for your support on this project.
Thank you.
Council members, so glad to be addressing you here today in support of the Upper Harbor Terminal project, but specifically the Community Performing Arts Center. I'm Keith Baker. I've been a Twin Cities person for the last 40 years, and I've not yet seen a scalable opportunity for a community as this one presents here today. I've been involved in youth development work, economic development work, public-private partnerships, and the like. And I do feel that the comprehensive plan or the coordinated plan really points in the right direction in all of the activities that I've been involved in with Upper Harbor Terminal Project, particularly First Avenue and the leadership of Dana and the staff within that have really grounded this project to bring about the outcomes that I think are really important. The African American CDC, as you know, will be administering the $3 ticket sale. And we've been very, very intentional about creating and partnering with all of the parties to ensure that the outcomes outlined in the coordinated plan really occur. but more specifically around the community benefits agreement. We think it reflects very, very clearly what it is that's articulated in the coordinated plan. We're happy to be a part of this partnership also with the Minnesota Orchestra. In summary, I also want to just indicate that this is the type of project that the African American Community Development Corporation really supports. And I also want to note the leadership that is a part of that. Bill English is here before us today. He's the member at large. Markella Smith has also been involved in the process from the beginning. Kenya McKnight has also been a part of the process in the beginning, and Shannon Elliott. That's the leadership team that will be working closely with community members and the partners associated with this. So I urge full support of this project moving forward.
Thank you all for your presentation. Right now, I'm going to proceed to open the public hearing and recognize Mr. Bill English.
Good morning. Good afternoon, Chair. That's 91. So this morning. But no, I'm happy to appear today and recognize most of you there. Councilmember Jenkins, I want to particularly thank you for your service that you will not be returning. Councilmember Ellison, the same thing. You're not running again. But you all have been so helpful to the North Job Creation Team, which was added by CPED and the mayor to the original Upper Harbor Planning Committee. So like many others, including 3 in this room, we spent 2.5 years working on this plan, which you finally approved. And it's been approved, and this is the step 1. Now the question should be raised, and perhaps I'm the only one that will raise it, is that while I am definitely supporting moving forward aggressively on getting this amphitheater up, because it makes a destination point for the Upper Harbor redevelopment in an area that this city chartered as the Negro slum. We know there are forces operating against us. Let me be clear, because you are the people who represent us. You're the closest one to us. This area of the city belongs to the residents of North Minneapolis first. This is to minimize gentrification. But brothers and sisters, we have enemies working against us. Even though you approved this plan, the mayor signed off on this plan, the Metro Council invested money in public utilities, the state invested monies in public utilities, and CPED invested and the city invested in getting some jobs created through the George Modular Solution Plant, which is going on at 1400 Washington. But why? Ask yourself why in 3 years, Minnesota Housing Finance Agency has not allocated a single nickel for housing, where we got the largest amount of homelessness, the most encampments. We contribute more financially to the city than any other. They don't argue agriculture does more. I argue finance does more, and Minneapolis is the largest contributor to the state. Yet none of that money. She sent $10 million up to Moorhead. Now, they may have 100 homeless people, if at most. We got thousands waiting for homes, and we haven't got an allocation in 3 years. And yet you cleared that land, purchased it, put in the infrastructure. Why are we there? So I urge you, step 1. But you got to send the message to the community. Step 1 is just the first step. Step 2 has to occur, and it has to occur now. Our people on the streets are homeless, man. People, I implore you, before I leave this planet, approve this plan and make sure you advocate for the housing we so justly deserve. Thank you for your time.
Absolutely,
and I appreciate you. God bless you all. And I still respect everyone on this council. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your testimony. Our next person is Peyton Scott Russell.
Thank you, Council. I'm here to definitely support this initiative moving forward. I'm Peyton Scott Russell. I'm the founder and director of Sprayfinger. It's a graffiti arts organization that supports graffiti arts education and the art of creative lettering. And we highlight graffiti as a benefit towards society and neighborhoods and not as a detriment seen only through negative vandalism. We do this by partnerships and collaborations through city, neighborhood businesses, nonprofit organizations, public schools, parents, other arts organizations. And for this reason, I am incredibly excited about this initiative. It provides a lot of creative outlets and performances for the neighborhood, and also being a lifelong resident of North Minneapolis and now newly property ownership of a gallery that I just purchased on Plymouth and Russell through my former and current super mentor, George Roberts, to continue his legacy for the gallery that he has created over 30 years. I am going to continue that legacy and also add my own. And because of that, this Upper Harbor Terminal initiative is just remarkable. Not only is it going to change the land, but for generations to come, newer creatives coming up will have the opportunity to continue to perform, to create murals consistently year after year, decorative fencing, just different performances and arts activities. As an arts director and arts consultant of this project, I will ensure that the demographics of this initiative will be seen throughout. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Next person is Leora Durit. Welcome.
Hi, thanks. I've never been to one of these, so pardon my just not knowing what I'm doing here. I'm born and raised in Minneapolis. I was born South Side. I live North Side now, Lowry and Lyndale. I was raised by a single dad with 3 kids, and we were able to walk everywhere. And I am a trail builder by profession, and I've traveled this entire country for the last 7 years, and I have found no better public transit, no better trail system, no better park system, and so I'm grateful for where I come from. It's beautiful. Now that I live on Lowry and Lyndale, I still walk everywhere I go. I walk about 10 miles a day, and I am looking at this plan, and I'm always kind of wondering about pedestrians, the ability to walk to and from Lowry to the project easily, safely, and just making sure that people who are in that neighborhood in Hawthorne are able to walk down to this incredible project that's coming in. And I see that, Dowling is a main access point. If anybody in this room could talk to me about anything that they know of about access points to and from, that would be great. But one thing I will say is I think, we could all probably agree in this room that everybody deserves clean air, clean water, clean food, and unconditional love. I think that it is odd that we are putting such an incredible initiative next to a garbage plant. I woke up coughing. I think many of us did because of the fires. But I think also to the shingle company, I have encouraged anybody if they would like to come over and take a walk over the bridge to and from down to the neighborhood and back with me sometime. I would love to facilitate that. Please hit me up at any time. But I definitely think that it is very odd that we are putting such an incredible project next to this shingle factory. And if you do want to walk down there with me, you might be sick when you walk back because it is so toxic. And we're bringing now, hundreds of thousands of people there, as well as this, so also my neighbor, on behalf of my neighbor, parking. So it's just one of those things. What are we going to do? How are we going to keep it safe? And how are we going to have them? The whole world is watching us. The whole world is watching Minneapolis. Let's do the right thing. But let's talk about clean water, clean air, clean food in North Minneapolis, and access to all those things, as well as unconditional love. We need it. So let's walk.
Thank you so much. Are there anyone else who would like to speak on this item? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and recognize Vice Chair Ellison.
Thank you. I'd be remiss if I didn't shout out Melissa Newman, Northside, longtime Northside resident. I was surprised you didn't come up to speak, but I just wanted to shout you out because we're talking about the North Side here. Wanted to say a few things. First, I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to move approval of this item, but I did want to say a few things, especially because we've had kind of this tremendous testimony from folks both who've got some skepticism. Skepticism has been a long part of this project. Yeah, I think it's in the DNA of this project. And we've got Mr. Bill English here, who is, did you say you were 91, Bill, now?
Yes, sir.
Wow, man. You know, my grandmother always said she was never gonna stop working, and she did work gladly until she passed. I'm like, I see a lot of that gene, that DNA in you, Mr. English. So thank you for being here, and thank you for your advocacy, and thank you not only for being here to advocate, but you're a worker, man. Like you put pen to paper, you put your thoughts out into the room, and you make things happen. This project wouldn't be happening without all of the partnership from the Northsiders in this room. Very early on in this project, folks were skeptical. They said, hey, if you want to come to North Minneapolis and just put some amphitheater on the river and rake in a bunch of huge profits, we're not going to let you do that. And I think that if that were the pure intention, I think Mr. Frank would have walked away probably at least 5 years ago. And I think that you know, you've stood in the pocket and taken a lot of those criticisms. You've refined the community benefits agreement. If there's anything that I want folks to take away from this, you know, developers, what have you, the CBA. I mean, it's really important. You want to know how to honor communities. It's not about just saying, you know, hey, we like you, we want to be in the fabric of the community. It's really about putting your money where your mouth is and saying, this is the way that we're going to serve the community. These are the mechanisms and the avenues that we're creating. And that community benefits agreement, I think, is what gives a lot of people confidence that this isn't something that's just coming into their neighborhood to impose, but really is interested in being a part of the fabric of the neighborhood and something that people can benefit from all across North Minneapolis. And it's great to see Peyton Russell here. Anybody who likes the way that I work or dislikes it, you have Peyton to blame. Probably one of my first teachers ever in life as a young artist. And so to see you as a part of the project, as somebody who knows the North Side so well, is definitely very encouraging as well. So so I wanted to just name all of those things, name that skepticism was a part of this project, name that Dana Frank was not scared off by that, but leaned into it, created partnerships, engaged the North Side, and created a CBA, a community benefits agreement. It's a term that I've heard my whole life, and I feel like this might be one of the few that I'm seeing come to fruition and be implemented. And I want that to be the norm. I want that to become the status quo of projects across Minneapolis, especially North Minneapolis. So thank you guys so much for putting this together. Bill, we will make sure that we keep advocating and fighting for housing on this site. And then the last thing I wanted to say is that access to the river has been denied to Northsiders for generations. The 94 trench got built and cut off, destroyed houses, cut the community off from access to the river. And that has been one of those legacies that a lot of us over the years have wanted to undo. Whether it be from the development side, the community organizing side, the elected official side. And so, you know, to the folks who, testifier who came in and I think rightfully pointed out, hey, what the hell are the neighbors doing over here? There's not, like, these aren't ideal neighbors for a community amenity. Well, that's because we allowed, you know, I think polluting interest, private interest to take over our portion of the riverfront. And I'd say that we cannot concede it to them forever. Right, we can't concede the riverfront and access to the river to those kinds of organizations forever. We've got to start clawing back pieces of the river. You see that with the 26th Avenue overlook. You see it with the trail that's being built that leads to the overlook. You're seeing it with this project, which again is in Ward 4. I'm talking about it like it's in my ward, but it's actually not. But you see folks advocating for access to the river. And I think that when this project is built over time, we're going to see probably more bridges. We're going to continue to see land bridge fights happen in North Minneapolis, where folks want to see that kind of infrastructure on the north side. And I think you're going to continue to see folks advocating for that right-of-way so that we can continue the trail from 26 up all the way to this amenity, and further north. Folks on the north side certainly deserve it. So went on longer than I wanted to, but I hope my colleagues support this, and I hope that the folks who have been skeptical of this project and who continue to be skeptical when folks come to the north side saying they want to support us, I hope you can look to the CBA. I hope you can look to the leadership and the way that they've taken on criticism and put their money where their mouth is, and have a little bit of hope that that there's a direction to go. You don't have to just beg people to come to develop over north. You can demand things from folks as well. And so thank you to Dana Frank and your team and everybody who's involved. And I look forward to seeing ground continue to break and move on this project.
All right, next, Councilmember Rainville.
Thank you. I have brief comments. Ms. Frank, I just want to thank you so much for drawing in Mr. English, Mr. Baker, Mr. Holman into your group. They're subject matter experts, and they'll serve you very well. So thank you for including them and your crew here. Thank you.
Councilmember Cashman.
Thank you, Chair Osman, and thank you, Councilmember Ellison, for all your guidance and shepherding this project over the years, as well as all the other council members who have worked on this for a long time. I heard about this in 2021 when I was working at an environmental law firm, and so was involved in some of the advocacy around environmental review at that time. And the firm that I worked at also worked on, trying to get northern metals out of the city. And so I think that there is an environmental justice fight that needs to continue for the north side, and very happy to continue pushing on that piece. But this is an amazing project for the riverfront, and I continue to believe that arts can and should be at the forefront of all of our revitalization strategies, giving opportunities to the creatives in our city to be able to share their talents with us, and for us to come together and celebrate those talents it truly is just a real cornerstone of Minneapolis's identity. So thank you for working in the art space and for bringing that opportunity to us. I did have one question that came up because I do, represent downtown and some of the big venues like Convention Center, Target Center, et cetera, where there's lots of Unite Here, Local 17 employees, and lots of IATSE, theatrical stage employees, workers. And so I wanted to ask if labor piece has been included in the community benefits agreement that's before us as part of this. If anyone from the Port of Minneapolis could speak to that.
Yes, so thank you for the question. Yes, we have a neutrality agreement, LPA, with IATSE, and we have full intentions of, bargaining with them when the time comes, but that is our intent.
Okay, thank you so much for answering that. And I'm really excited to continue to support this project, and I see that this might be the end of some of the council actions on this, but it won't be the end of our community actions on this, so thank you so much.
All right, thank you. I see no one else. With the motion, all those in favor for approval, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed say nay. The ayes have it and the motion carries. Thank you so much for coming and speaking. Next, we have a quasi-judicial. We are considering a zoning administration appeal that was submitted by Douglas Kelly for the property located at 4428 Edmund Blvd. This appeal comes from a decision of the Zoning Board of Adjustment. I will have a Chris Fercoda from CBED to provide more content of this item. Welcome, Chris.
Thank you, Chair Osmond, committee members. My name is Christopher Coda. I'm a principal city planner in the zoning administration section of CPED. 4428 Edmund Boulevard is located mid-block on Edmund Boulevard with the Mississippi River across the road to the east. Since February of 2024, work has been undertaken on the site to construct a new single-family dwelling. This was originally permitted as an addition and remodel, but the work exceeded the scope of that original permit. A stop work order was put in place to allow for new permits to be submitted and reviewed by staff. At this point, all required building permits and land use applications have been submitted, reviewed, and approved. The new house is very large, effectively as large as allowed by the zoning ordinance, but within the limits of the zoning ordinance.
This new construction has been very disruptive to the neighbors and to the neighborhood, and as a result, there have been numerous complaints about the work on the site throughout the process. A majority of these issues have been related to the building code and the building permit process. The city
All right, thank you so much for being patient. We're back. For now. Please continue.
For further issues. The last code section, talking about the purpose of required yards, is yard controls provide for the orderly development and use of land and to minimize conflicts among land uses by regulating the dimensions and use of yards in order to provide adequate light, air, open space, and separation of uses. So these pilings are buried approximately 6 to 8 feet below grade and do not extend above the surface of the lot. And as such, they do not violate the yard provision based on the definition of a yard or the requirements stated in section 54890, which reference the lowest surface of the yard or the surface level of the lot, respectively, and also comply with the stated purpose of the yard provision. The city has regularly and previously allowed structural components such as this that are completely below the ground surface to be located in required yards and not subject them to setbacks. This includes, as I previously mentioned, pilings similar to this on other projects, other sorts of foundation stabilization improvements such as wall anchors, and even below ground tunnels and parking garages. As long as they've been completely buried, we've not subjected them to required yards. While this application was spurred by this property and this project, it is worth noting that this decision would have citywide impacts if it's determined that completely below-grade improvements such as this, or objects such as this, are subject to the yard requirements. So this decision would not affect just this property, would have a citywide impact. The Zoning Board of Adjustment, in considering this item at their June 12th meeting, upheld the zoning administrator's determination and denied the appeal on a 7-0 vote. I will stand for questions, and the appellant is here.
Thank you so much for that presentation. Now, if the appellant is present at the meeting, I will allow them 7 minutes to speak. I'll open the public hearing and allow them to speak 7 minutes. Welcome.
Thank you very much. I greatly appreciate this opportunity to bring these important issues before the board. Thank you, Chair Osmond and Vice Chair Ellison. I think as I read the definition of this committee is represented to oversee, among other, all matters related to land use, development, zoning, and housing policy. The committee exercises oversight of the Department of Community Planning and Economic Development, CPED, and CPED supervises both zoning review and, via its Development Services Division, the building code officials and building code inspectors. Therefore, we are here today after over a year of waiting for just action by the city to put before this committee facts about how CPED is abusing their responsibilities by limiting the appeal of this issue to be spoken to by myself and my neighbors, and by accepting false statements that are unproven by the contractor who misrepresented on his initial permit application for the project for a $4 million house, and is now being rewarded by CPED and the city attorney's office by ignoring the most significant city ordinances and focusing on distracting arguments that include discussions of use of yards and serve only to maintain a potentially corrupt discretionary attitude. This affects many of the Minneapolis more affordable neighborhoods. This must be a concern to each council member in exercising your oversight responsibilities of CPED. I'd like to put before some photographs. The above photograph is the house that was demolished without a
Clark,
permit.
can you assist and see if we can see the photo?
This house was, by Edmund Blvd standards, an affordable house. And I must say, as a 39-year resident of this neighborhood, my wife and I have felt blessed to be maintaining this very old, unique lot and possibly historic property along one of the oldest traveled routes, the Mississippi River corridor. For 39 years, we never begrudged the city for our higher than average tax rates. We firmly believe that government has an important purpose in fostering and maintaining a civil society, and that when it comes to service, you get what you pay for. And we have trusted that our government has delivered honestly and fairly. Our trust in city government was shattered by this project. Our neighborhood, classified as a UN1, Urban Neighborhood District's purpose, allows predominantly small-scale residential uses. Our once affordable neighborhood is now under assault by profit-driven development that is changing the affordability and built character of our neighborhood while devaluing the natural environment that made these small-scale residences uses livable, healthy, and attractive. These are the very goals that zoning ordinance intends to protect. Our trust in city government is shattered when we are lied to. When administrators deny our rights, when dishonest or lax misguided actions are covered up. To restore our neighborhood's trust in local government, I will put on a sheet that describes what I believe would be necessary to restore our neighborhood's trust in our local government. I believe you've all received a copy. And I bring this forward because otherwise it'll get to the end of the discussion and I won't have time to talk about these. This project was started illegally and failed to have a proper investigation when the permits were re-permitted. The illegal demolition was done in violation of numerous environmental codes. It risked our neighborhood to hazards of dust. The demolition was done dry, without any water. It puts our neighborhood at risk. The temporary shoring was pounded into the ground right along the edge of the property line. Photographs show that, and the building officials refused to look at those photographs and go out and actually verify that this is a concern to our neighborhood. When we called inspectors out to this project, the response was almost incredible. First, they refused to inspect damages that were known to have been caused by the pounding of the shoring system that was shown previously. And actually, I do have that photograph. If it's possible to enlarge the photograph in the lower left-hand corner, you'll see that these pilings are quite tall, and they're right along the property lines. That photograph also shows groundwater that was discovered during the excavation, also being ignored by the building officials.
Can you try to wrap it up, sir? Yeah,
Excuse me?
yeah, you run out of time, but if you can wrap it up, that would be great.
What we want this, we believe that this project needs to be stopped. It did not have the special investigation that is required for re-permitting. The re-permitting was done when we have known damages caused by the unpermitted work. I believe that's illegal, and the temporary shoring, the city officials refuse to acknowledge the difference in permit language between temporary and permit. I'd like to see a show of hands by this council that, does everybody understand that there's a difference between temporary and permitted? And permanent?
Yes. Well, thank you so much for your
Thank you.
testimony.
I will concede the microphone, even though I do believe there's much more to the story. I hope everybody has read through the documentation
Yes, we
that I
have.
provided.
Thank you.
There will be other formats and forums where I believe I will
Thank you.
I will be, and my neighbors will be vindicated in our anger over the lack of enforcement that has been provided by this.
Thank you so much.
city officials.
Okay, so I'm going to go through the list. Everyone else has 2 minutes to speak. I'm going to call Josh Wale.
Good afternoon, council members. My name is Josh Welly. I live at 4424 Edmund, right next door to the project in question. So, of course, there is the debacle that has been well documented at the 4428 Edmund project that city officials, through their neglect and their dereliction of duty, have allowed to destroy one affordable home in Minneapolis, to damage 2 other affordable homes, including ours, and to disrupt and harm the natural environment and peace in our community for the last year and a half. And with respect to Mr. Vokoda, who is relying on bad information, they continue to violate ordinances, including many that have been well documented, including Chapter 52, all on the backs of our neighbors and in the service of wealthy interests. But then there's also the bigger policy question. Mayor Fry and the City Council have prioritized the housing crisis, and our solution should not be limited to building more capacity, but should also better utilize the existing capacity that we already have. And that's why strict enforcement of building and zoning rules is so important, not just to us and not just for this one project, but to everyone. Now, there have been multiple well-documented blatant violations on this project, but please don't just take our word for it. Finally, order the mandated special investigation that city officials have inexplicably resisted. And then if that investigation concludes that the disaster at 4428 Edmund actually passes scrutiny under the existing zoning and building rules and processes, then it should be clear that this is a policy failure. And it is imperative that our city asks why, and how can we prevent this from being repeated throughout our city to countless other communities and neighborhoods. Other similarly sized and progressive cities have enacted common sense guardrails against obscene developments that destroy neighborhoods. As one example, setting a threshold of 20% if you remain a single family home and you exceed 20% increases to require a variance. And to be clear, don't let this be confused with the real need for more multifamily housing and the NIMBY resistance to that need. That's not what's happening here. We're talking about a 5,000 or 6,000 square foot home on a narrow lot on a $4 to $5 million budget. So
thank you so much.
The important point is we need to do something. I appreciate the amount of time. Thank you for the time. Please order the overdue special investigation. Thank you, council members.
Thank you so much for your testimony. Next person is Amy Wale.
Hi, I'm Amy Welly. I live next door to the project with my husband and daughter. My family and the entire neighborhood are asking Minneapolis to uphold the law and our fundamental rights as homeowners and taxpayers. I'm a stay-at-home mom, so my home and work life is all right at Edmund. I watched the house get torn down using none of the techniques that protect people and children from lead, toxic roofing, and styrofoam and other debris that blow around. We were given no notice before there was weeks of 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. violent shaking in our house that broke glasses, knocked things off shelves all throughout my house. When a second supervising inspector came and was again going to allow the work to continue, I had to beg them to put a stop work order in so that we could mitigate the damage going on in our basement. I've sat and watched the excavated lot fill with water and eventually start to get pumped down the alley, and now that's the new norm. I know that the dewatering plan on the site is still a mystery, and I was there when the contractor refused to show the neighbors the plan when it's supposed to be on site for the public. I watched the architect and designer laugh at us as a community and a street and a neighborhood when it was stated that what was going on was very disrespectful to our neighborhood. I personally feel so helpless and violated in this entire situation. I'd like to know what does it take for the city to act when things like this happen? Would the city have actually done anything had our house collapsed, had somebody gotten hurt? Are homeowners really supposed to go to court and wait 3 years before something, when somebody's breaking the rules and damaging our home? Who am I supposed to call when damage is actively happening and it's clear that unlawful activity is going on 5 feet from my house where my daughter's playing? We've been waiting for over a year, and I want to know, are you going to tell us there's nothing you can do? Are you going to tell us it's too late now because so much has been built while lower officials have sat and done nothing for a year? Are you going to say that keeping my child safe in her home is not your problem? Tell me to call 311? Are we once again in front of officials that will duck and run and say that we are at the mercy of wealthy developers and dishonest contractors? The city should finally conduct the mandatory special investigation to shed light on these serious problems and violations by the project team and their friends at the city. I support Doug Kelly's appeal. Thank you.
Appreciate your testimony. Next person is Janice Whitney.
Thank you for listening to us, hopefully. I am Janice Whitney, and I live with my husband south of the project. And I'm going to read something that my husband, 7 minutes, give me a break, to try to discuss this. He didn't get a chance to say this, so I'm going to read something that I think you have it before you, but he wants to talk about different codes and subparts of codes that we would like to see addressed. And one is NMRC 13.0130 subpart 9C. Work regulated by the code shall be installed according to the reviewed construction documents. The construction documents require the shoring to be removed in 30 days. Here's the temporary versus permanent. Another building code, work authorized by a permit shall not proceed beyond the scope of the permit. Work that exceeds the scope of a permit shall be considered unpermitted work. Construction or work for which permit is required is subject to inspection by the building official, and the construction or work shall remain accessible and exposed for inspection purposes until approved. Environmental Protection Code, in the event work does not conform to the permit or to the plans and specifications or to any instructions of issuing authority, notice to comply shall be given to the permittee in writing. Note, the word shall is used in each of these provisions, meaning the provision is not discretionary, but is legally mandatory. So why didn't these things happen? In addition to my husband and the Wellies, we are extremely frustrated and disappointed as Minneapolis residents, long-term Minneapolis residents, and the lack of response and the lack of addressing these issues through an investigation. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your testimony. Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and recognize...
Actually, before you close the public hearing, Chair, could you make a call and determine whether the developer is here and would like to speak?
Yes, before I close... Is the developer here in person or anyone representing from the developer? Or the proper owner? No, they're not here. And I close the public hearing now? Yep, we'll close the public hearing. and recognize Councilmember Ellison.
I'll ask if Councilmember Chowdhury would like to go first. Okay, great. Well, the developer not being here is a shame, because I feel like this is their mess that they've created. We've got a quasi-judicial matter before us, and so I don't take that lightly. We've been in this position many times where a remedy is deserved, and the tools that we have are extremely limited in scope. And so I'm going to do what I can to try to figure out how we can kind of parse through some of the details and the facts that we are allowed to consider in a quasi-judicial matter. It may not be good news, but I do want you all to know that, like, you're not crazy. You're experiencing what you're experiencing, and I'm not interested in standing up here and rejecting that. We might have limited tools in how we can participate in the remedy that you deserve, but bear with me. There is one. I'm going to defer to my colleague, Councilmember Chowdhury. She's your representative of the area, so I'm going to hold my comments until and defer to Councilmember Chowdhury.
Thank you, Chair Osman and Vice Chair Ellison. I know Councilmember Ellison will kind of walk through what his thinking is. He is a very seasoned member of the City Council and the Business, Housing, and Zoning Committee. But before he goes into his part, I did want to take a moment to acknowledge all of the community members that are here today, and just your efforts, not just waiting in this committee room for a really long time and on June 12th as well, but the entire last year. I want to start off by saying that I am sorry that this has been something that has been happening to you. I have seen firsthand the damage that's been done in some of the households there, and I also will take a moment to say that this was an issue that was brought to me as a newer council member, and I wish I had the information and the tools and the knowledge and the experience available to me when this occurred. And to my colleagues, I'll just share that what the community members here have experienced is major absenteeism from the contractor themselves about this project and the neighbors that are moving in, which has been really difficult for a very tight-knit community that talks to one another. And there's been remodels and projects done in the past that have taken a much different path. And then also just how egregious it is that there was an excavation and work continued and demolition done without a permit, and how that truly does shatter public trust. And one thing from my viewpoint as sitting as a newer council member at that time and even now is the lack of accountability and tools available to us as a city in our current code to hold these instances accountable, right? A $200 fine is not enough to hold accountable major demolition of a project and then continued harm to neighbors in the area. And I want to validate all of your hurt, all of the both like damage to your house, but I've seen the emotional and physical harm that's been brought onto you, how it has just made it hard for you to have a place in your home. We oftentimes talk in quasi-judicials about actions that take place and how they can be injurious to one's health. And I have seen in the face of my neighbors here that there has been instances of that. I want to say that today I'm going to be supporting the neighbors' appeal. I think this is one action that they felt that they absolutely had to take to get their voice heard in this moment. And I also wanted to share to the neighbors that are here and then that are probably listening at home. I have connected with our city auditor, Robert Timmerman. He's watching this right now. I do feel like this is an instance where it has just like risen to a level that I think is beyond the scope of any current city council member in terms of like our ability to do oversight. And so we have to go to our independent auditor to use the tools of their office. And he is happy to meet with me and other council members to discuss like what our options are. And while they have limited staffing resources, he never wants to say no. And we want to have a discussion about what a special independent review can look like. And I hope out of this, we can find where there might have been missteps, even if it's like within code, but also in communication and how we could show up. And then also understanding, does the consequence to breaking a code really line up with the actual violation? And I think having someone who is independent, the Office of the City Auditors, would be really valuable to give this council advice. I do acknowledge that there is a lot of hard work that happens in the CPED department, and that is not in any way to devalue that. I do think, though, cities change and codes are old and mistakes do happen, and that's why we have tools like the City Auditor's Office to look into matters like this, give reviews, and then give us action so we can make change so residents in the future do not have to experience that. And hopefully for the residents that are here, there is some justice to be found. I'll plan to hang back after this item is done to check in with anyone after the fact. I had to be limited in my conversations with you once this became a quasi-judicial matter, because as council members, once we take this up, it's we have to limit ex parte communication and cannot take a position before our public hearing has concluded. So again, thank you so much, and apologies for the horrific experiences many of you have had over the last year.
Thank you, Councilmember Ellison. Continue, please.
Thank you, and thank you, Councilmember Chowdhury. And while this is a quasi-judicial, I know that as a council member on this body, your council member has been working hard to figure out what our avenues are, for addressing this this issue in a way that's responsible and legal, as is our duty up here. When it comes to the shore pilings, which is the narrow scope of what we can address today, I don't think that there's a way for us to be able to say that, for us to mandate that they remove those. We've got, at least from what I've seen, we've got other instances in which there are things buried under the ground that we don't attribute to sort of the to the minimum yard requirements and that we don't attribute as zoning violations. And so, like, as unfortunate as it is, I do want to lay out some other things, though. We're not here to litigate whether this this developer or their contractors are assholes. If we were, I'd be voting in the affirmative of that. It seems like they have not had a lot of care or respect for the neighborhood, and so I just want to say that. I read through this letter when we got up here, and especially gave me some more time to think about it as we had the break, and some of these things we can't do preemptively because we just don't have the measure to. For instance, I would love if we had an ability to stop the work, and it sounds like there's been real damage to some of the other surrounding properties. While the city council can't mandate a remedy for you, I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not giving you advice, but I think that it would be well within you all's right, and I think that your argument would be strong to pursue a remedy for damages that have been made to your properties. I don't want you to take that lightly. It is, civil court is not ideal. It is a fight that you have to sign up for, but you have your private right of action. We build that into a lot of ordinances as well. Maybe not this one, but you have it whether it's built into the ordinance or not. And I think that you all deserve that, and to know that that's an avenue that you should pursue, especially if there's real damages, because we don't have the authority to tell a developer, no matter how bad of an actor they are, that they have to sort of pay civil remedy to anyone else. We just don't have that authority up here. The one thing that I do want to support my colleague on is, I do think that we do need to examine legislatively, and I know that this doesn't provide you all a remedy in this moment, but if we have an actor who is allowed to move forward unlawfully and then get into compliance, which we do allow, and sometimes there are reasons for folks not being in compliance. Sometimes it's not always malicious. They get into compliance, no harm, no foul. But if we have an actor here who was out of compliance, and we don't have real ways to determine whether that non-compliance was malicious or not, I do think that that's an area for us as a council to explore what our legislative options are. And so if your council member is looking to explore how do we make sure we prevent this from happening in the future, I think that that's something that that I'd be interested in exploring. I'm not your council member, but I'd be interested in hearing directly from you alongside Councilmember Chowdhury on some of the things you saw, some of the ways that this property fell through the cracks, so that we can prevent something like this from happening again in the future. The one thing I do want to say is, in my experience, and this is not to counter you all's experience at all, but in my experience, our staff would be glad to cite violators as they violate in our communities. If you have a bad actor that is able to sort of, in bad faith, stay just within legal bounds to do whatever it is that they're going to do, cause damage, cause disruption, violate the rules, take on fines as sort of the cost of doing business, my experience is that our staff gladly go out and cite those violators if they feel like they're causing harm to the community. If that wasn't you all's experience with staff, I want to make sure that we can take that critique as well. But I do want to assure you that I've seen, I don't want there to be a narrative that the staff that we work with who gave presentations up here today, don't care about what's going on with the properties in our communities, because in my experience is that they do. If we have properties that fall through the cracks, let's address those. But I get that your trust is shaken. But we've got staff who have thick skin. They can take the critiques. Let's engage in a conversation to figure out how we can prevent this from happening in the future. I don't want you all to walk away thinking, that somebody in zoning or somebody in CPED just doesn't care. Our directors come to our committees and they sit on the bench every single day. We can work with them to meet directly with you. I know that they care about the health and well-being of every single block in the city of Minneapolis, and I'm down to participate in making that happen, and making sure that trust gets rebuilt. And so I know that that's not ideal news. The things that I want you all to walk away with is that I do think that there's ways for us to engage to rebuild trust. I do think that there might be legislative action that we can't take up right here during this quasi-judicial that we need to look into to prevent something like this from happening in the future. The thing that I know is going to be disappointing to hear is that I don't think we have a solid argument here today during the narrow scope of this quasi-judicial to halt construction or compel them to take these shoring pilings out of the ground. And so if there's not a motion before us, I will move to deny this appeal, but I don't want that to be interpreted as you guys not having any more recourse. Your council member is standing with you. I'll stand in solidarity with you as a council member across town to figure out what the correct avenue is, even if this quasi-judicial wasn't the best. Couldn't produce the best outcome.
Thank you, Councilmember Allison. I put myself in queue, and I think that President have a very good reason why they should be angry. This project started illegally, and there has been damage to families' properties. So one question I might have is that if we trigger what some of the residents say about either a special investigation or city auditor, like looking into it, what is the timeline that we have to make a decision? A city attorney or anyone else?
Those questions or those options are outside the scope of the quasi-judicial hearing, so those are options you could explore, but they wouldn't be something that you would use to impact the outcome of this hearing, because the question in this hearing is very narrow to the question of the in-ground pylons.
Sure. For the quasi-judicial itself, how long can the city take to make a decision? Is it like 60 days? We have to make a decision.
I'm going to defer this to staff.
Thank you.
This is a land use application. It is subject to the 60 and 100 day, or 60 and 120 day decision requirement of the state of Minnesota. And at this point, we're getting close to the 120 day decision period. So really this needs to be a final action by, I believe it's August 12th. So there really would not be additional time to delay a decision here.
Okay, thank you so much. Now, just not really sure how city auditor will be able to.
Sorry, Chair, sorry. My manager just corrected me. It's August 14th is the end of the 120-day. And it should be noted that includes publication. So it's not just a decision, but it's final action and publication would need to be done by then.
Okay, thank you. No, just really raising a point that Councilmember Chowdhury raised, that she might be talking to the city auditor and see what, if we got anything wrong on the process. I do believe it's a bad actor, individual who's not here and has started their project illegally without a permit. So it could be it's a problem, but that is not what we're looking at. We're looking at what's front of us. So I'm gonna stop there and recognize Councilmember Chowdhury.
Thank you, Chair Osman. I hope my colleagues will just bear with me for a question that was just brought up in the public comment materials, and I just think it would be helpful to know, to clarify for us as a body and the public as well. There's a request that's made to us to see if there's a possible way for us to do a stop work requirement on the project, as there's damages or even these violations of beginning work at all, like going back to the demolition occurring without a permit. What is the ability for the city to require stop work at this point? I don't know if it's for Attorney Shutt or if Attorney Fussy is able to help answer that question and just provide some clarity.
Good afternoon, Chair Osman, Councilmember Chowdhury, and committee members. The remedies available for this matter, again, which is very narrow, is simply a determination on whether the zoning administrator determination is upheld or not. There simply aren't remedies attached to this quasi-judicial application and decision in front of you that would include remedies, any other remedies such as a stop work order or damages. It is extremely narrow, and anything that would be looked upon outside of the scope of that determination, which could be entirely legitimate in terms of an auditor or a look at the processes or legislation that might develop separately, has to be held entirely separate from the determination that is before the committee today, which is narrow to the pilings issue. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for the clarification, and we'll look forward outside of this item to working with our city auditor and then getting some additional help to figure out the legislative recourse.
All right. See no one else. With Councilmember Allison motion to deny the appeal, I'll ask clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Cashman.
No.
Jenkins.
Aye.
Chowdhury.
Nay.
Vice Chair Ellison.
Aye.
Chair Osman.
Aye.
There are 4 ayes and 2 nays.
The motion carries and the appeal is denied. Thank you so much. Is there a finding that I need to ask or no? No? No, that's approval, okay. We're gonna move to the next item. And next, we have a variance appeal that's submitted by Todd Peterson on behalf of Hiawatha APC for the property located at 4640 17th Avenue South. This appeal comes from a decision of the Zoning Board of Adjustment. I will have Ben Courier from CBA to give us that presentation. Welcome, Ben.
Good afternoon, Chair Osmond, committee members. I'm Ben Carrier, City Planner and CPED Zoning Administration. Before you today is an appeal to the Zoning Board of Adjustment's decision denying a variance to reduce the front yard requirements at 4640 17th Avenue South. Okay. The subject site is in the UN3 Urban Neighborhood Zoning District and in the Corridor 3 Built Form Overlay District, Airport Overlay District, and is located in Ward 11. The subject site is just over 155,000 square feet, or a little over 3.5 acres. The site is a large rectangular through lot occupying an entire city block. As a through lot, both the east and west property lines abutting public streets are considered front lot lines with required front yards of at least 15 feet. The existing principal use here is a K-8 educational facility serving approximately 800 students attending the elementary and middle school co-located on the parcel. Improvements on the site include surface parking areas at the northeast and southwest corners, two-story buildings, one situated in the northwest half along 16th Avenue South, and the other situated in the southeast corner along 17th Avenue South. There's an outdoor playground and recreational area that sits approximately 3 feet below grade at 16th Avenue South, where there's an existing 4-foot fence on top of a retaining wall that runs along that portion of the property line. For reference, I'll use the cursor. This is where I'm talking about. The applicant intends to and is permitted to install synthetic turf in the bare play field and wood fiber mulch in the playground, which are seen in this slide, surrounded by the two buildings and the parking area. So the applicant requested a variance to reduce the front yard requirements from 15 feet to 0 feet along 16th Avenue South, to extend the mulched area of the existing playground and synthetic turf in the existing play field up to the front property line where the retaining wall and fence currently exist. This slide shows the area where the front yard would be reduced if the variance were granted. Notwithstanding staff's recommendation to approve the variance request with conditions, the Zoning Board of Adjustment denied the variance request to reduce the required front yard. For a variance to be granted, the applicant must meet all 3 required findings. The final 3 slides I have for you detail the applicant's ability to meet those required findings. Staff found that practical difficulties exist in complying with the code's yard requirements due to the grade changes along 16th Avenue South. The existing play area is enclosed by the school buildings and a parking lot, and the play area is 3 feet below grade there. The parcel is a through lot, which occupies an entire city block. Those are relatively unique characteristics, meaning the front yard shall be maintained along the front lot line aligned with the original plating orientation of the parcel and should match the established front yard of the closest residential structure located on the same block face. The original plating of the parcel was intended to match the surrounding characteristics, which is predominantly individual residential uses, and would have established frontage along 16th Avenue South. However, this standard is not easily applied to the existing use and built form of the parcel, which does not conform to the original plating. There are no adjacent residential uses located on the same block face, and the entire block is occupied by the educational facility. As such, the intended benefits of buffering and screening associated with the yard and landscaping requirements are impractical here, and the variance request is reasonable. K through 8 schools are permitted in the urban neighborhood zoning district, and there's no proposed change to the use there. So staff found that the second finding is met. And the request to reduce the required front yard would not alter the essential character of the locality. If granted, the proposed variance would not be detrimental to the health, safety, or welfare of those utilizing the property or nearby properties. Staff had received one public comment ahead of the appeal hearing. The comment was from a neighboring property owner along the 4600 block of 16th Avenue South. It read, "We support the variance to the minimum required front yard so that turf can be installed. It's important that students who attend the school have an adequate space to play. We also support any efforts to revitalize a green space so that our neighborhood can once again enjoy it. The current condition of the field is not conducive to either." And at 1 p.m. today, I had a call from another neighbor who wanted to express support for the variance. That concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben, for that presentation. I am going to proceed to open the public hearing, and if the appellant is here, I would like them to come up. They have 7 minutes to address the committee. Anybody else to this item will get 2 minutes to speak. Yes, please, you can give it to them. Welcome, please state your name and you have 7 minutes.
Good afternoon, committee. Thank you for having me. My name is Todd Peterson. I'm with Hiawatha Academies, Hiawatha Academies ABC. I'm the senior finance officer for the organization. Hiawatha's playground is used very heavily by both the school and the neighborhood, and as a result, it is perpetually either mud or dirt. It is, well, to make it more attractive and to make it more safe, Hiawatha's installing a turf surface. The only question before the committee is regarding a 15-foot wide strip of land that lies beneath the retaining wall at the edge of the playground. Although the strip is below grade compared to the street located beneath the wall, and in every visual way is part of the playground, it is technically considered front yard. Currently, zoning does not allow synthetic turf on a front yard without a variance, which is why we are seeking the variance. Hiawatha Academies is home to around 800 students in that one block, and another around 120 staff, and any number of consultants and bus drivers and the like as well. So it's an active block. We exist in between 46th Street East and 47th Street, and between 16th and 17th Avenue in South Minneapolis. On the block, there are the two buildings. One is a middle school, one is an elementary school, and they are owned by Hiawatha Academies. There are no residencies on the block. The southwest portion of the land around 16th Avenue is an outdoor playground in the school and a school sports and recreation area. The block serves as has served as a schoolhouse long before Hiawatha acquired it. And at some point before Hiawatha acquired that land, the north and south retaining wall was constructed along the edge of 16th Avenue South and that right-of-way line. The street grade is elevated approximately 3 to 4 feet higher than the school playground area, and the retaining wall supports the street and forms a natural boundary for the playground. And then on top of that wall is a fence. And it creates more of a safe enclosed area for students, school children, and community members who use the space. And because the playground is below grade along 16th Avenue, it is and has experienced chronic water and drainage issues. And this, coupled with the heavy use by school children, prevents the grass from growing there in any reasonable way. And for many years, the surface has ranged from sticky wet mud to dry hard-packed mud. And we've tried sodding it, we've tried seeding it, we've even tried just letting the weeds grow and then mowing weeds to see if they stood up a little better. They do not. 800 feet every day for 10 months is real hard on living things. So we are installing synthetic turf, and the variance request is really about the setback along 15th Avenue. If you'd like to look at some of the pictures, or if you have any questions about some of the pictures that I provided you, picture one, of course, shows the fence, it shows the retaining wall, and as does picture two, the retaining wall and just how much of a reduction in grade is that where the play field sits. Picture 3 shows the mulch area, which is where the playground equipment is. None of the playground equipment would be moving any closer or moving at all. We're really talking about mulch and synthetic turf in that space, and I think it's well illustrated in what we're looking at there is just really that strip. And I'd also like to call your attention to the fifth image, which really shows some of the drainage heading down to the corner of the lot, and just how much sediment gets moved around by all that water on that lot. And then finally, the last picture on the last page of the photo section shows our students in the winter playing on what is frozen mud. And this is, I also handle risk management for the school. This is something I have to look away from because it's a danger to the students to be playing on frozen, on ice and mud like this. And so really putting down turf is our best bet, and being able to turf the entire field and not have a reduction of space or play area for those students is essential for us. That reduction, that 15-foot setback, accounts for about 1,572 square feet in reduced play area for the students. Beyond that 1,572 square feet, there's also, if we were to only turf the area and leave the setback, we lose the drainage and the proper drainage, which was supported by the watershed district and put together along with our civil engineer. And so this is a crushed rock and aggregate bed, and it will enable drainage to the lot that's far superior to dirt or anything else that we could put in there at this time. I think the number he gave me was we could get an inch of rain and not have any standing water. And that means that water is permeating down into the ground where it belongs instead of being rushed into the city storm drains.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
See if there's anyone else who signed up to speak. Yes.
Good afternoon, Chair Osman, Vice Chair Ellison, and committee members. My name is Noella O'Rourke, and I have the privilege of working as the Senior Human Resources Officer for Hiawatha Academies. Hiawatha Academies is a charter school located in Minneapolis, and more specifically in the Northrop neighborhood in the Nokomis community. I'm here to make an urgent request regarding a variance appeal not just for our staff, but for the hundreds of families that have chosen Hiawatha Academies as their educational home. Today, we're here to plead with you to consider our variance request for the safety of the community and the kids we serve. Right now, our students face a heartbreaking reality. During recess, instead of running freely and laughing, they must navigate around dirt, mud, and ice fields in the winter. If our variance is denied, I'm afraid those safety concerns will continue. We're not asking you to spend taxpayer money. We're asking for permission to utilize our own resources to solve a problem that benefits everyone. A thriving school with happy, safe children strengthens our entire community. This variance costs the city nothing, but approves a solution that transforms a safety hazard into a community asset. When you support this request, you're not just helping our school, you're investing in the well-being of Minnesota families who have chosen to make this community their home. The families and many of the staff at our school are your neighbors, your constituents, your community members. They pay taxes, volunteer at local events, and shop at local businesses. They're asking for nothing more than the chance to give their children what every child deserves, a safe place to play. I urge you to approve this variance, help us turn this dirt-filled lot with hazards into a place where children can be children safely, joyfully, and without fear. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your testimony. The next person is it Jessica?
Yep.
Yes. Welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jessica Gebauer, and I'm on the, sorry, my notes just went away. And I'm on the campus leadership team at the elementary school at Northrop Elementary. And I'm here on behalf of our whole community, our students, staff, and families, to express our appreciation for the progress made toward improving our school's outdoor space already. We're incredibly grateful that the turf has already been approved for the majority of our playground area. Today, I'm here to ask for support in completing the final piece, approving turf for the remaining small strip of the field so that we can provide a fully functional, safe, and welcoming space for all students. Right now, the field that surrounds our playground is just dirt, and while that may not sound like a major issue, I want to share just a few real examples of how this affects our students, our school events, and the wider community. One of the most special days of the year at our elementary school is All About Me Day. It's a celebration of identity, diversity, and belonging, where our entire school gathers for a picnic, dancing, games, and pizza. But instead of being able to fully enjoy the celebration, students and staff have to contend with dust blowing into their eyes, covering their clothes, and even settling on the food we're trying to enjoy. It puts a damper on that, what should be a joyful and inclusive moment. Field Day is another beloved event, the final celebration after a year of hard work. Once again, the dry, dusty fields becomes a challenge. Kids are excited to run, play, and compete, but they end up with dust in their eyes and on their skin for hours. It's uncomfortable, and it's not the environment we want to send them into the summer with. During the spring months, March through May, our field is often covered in mud and puddles. This forces frequent indoor recesses, even on otherwise beautiful days. It also limits space for soccer, a favorite activity for so many of our students. These are moments that should be filled with laughter, fresh air, and movement, and instead they're often lost to an unplayable space. Looking ahead this fall, we'll be welcoming around 75 new kinder families to Northrop and celebrating the return of hundreds more. These first days of school are full of hugs, excitement, and conversations, family gathering outside the playground to kick off a new year. But right now, that welcoming space is nothing but dirt. And if there's even a little mud or rain, it becomes a mess of dust or mud. Our students and community deserve better. Thank you for considering our appeal. With your support, we can transform a bare dirt lot into a vibrant green space that uplifts every child, every family, and every moment spent at Northrop. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your testimony. I see no one else to speak. I will close the public hearing and recognize Councilmember Ellison.
Thank you.
Thank you all for coming in today. I am going to move to grant this appeal and then make a motion to adopt the findings of fact as set out by our staff report. I want to say one other thing that I think is really important, because you guys don't know this because you're just coming here now, but turf has come up a lot in the form of our impervious surface issue, and so, you know, if that was the issue, we might be having a different discussion, right? But this is about front yard setback issues. You guys, it sort of meets the requirement, and so I know that at times we've had debates up here about the quasi-judicial nature that we're boxed in with, but I just wanted to, for my colleagues' sake, say that I know turf has come up, but this is a sort of a different element, at least from my understanding of how turf is coming before us, and I think it's a sign that turf's going to probably keep coming before us, and so somebody should probably figure out a legislative solution as we move forward. It won't be me, but somebody should figure out a legislative solution. And so, yeah, with that, I'm happy to make the motion to grant this appeal. I hope my colleagues will support it, or you know, I could stand for questions as well.
Yeah, I think many of us will be I put myself in queue. Many of us will be super happy to work on the turf, because that does come back a lot. But I really want to thank you for what you do for the kids. I don't know, should be going through this, you know, tough process to get a playground for the kids. It just really doesn't make sense to me. But I support it, as you mentioned, and the staff supports it. So thank you for that motion. I'll support that motion. So I recognize Councilmember Chowdhury.
Thank you, Chair Osman. Yeah, for me, I mean, the impervious surface aspect has always been important to me in considering the usage of turf, but this is less about the usage of turf, but more the reducing of the minimum front yard requirements. And for that reason, I'll be supporting this. But we do have to figure out some legislation around turf. And I'll also just kind of implore Hiawatha Academies to take a deeper look into the usage of synthetic turf. Currently in our city code, we have nothing around public health standards and microplastics and PFAS. There are worries that these forever chemicals exist within synthetic turf, and obviously, younger bodies, they're going to be the most impacted, and 99% of Americans at this point have some form of forever chemicals within their body. So that's something that we have to kind of reckon with, and there are many, many advocates, and also the European Union that has looked into this and has done a full-scale ban of synthetic turf. So I implore you to look at some other materials that could be safer and less hazardous. I have seen other schools kind of look into a more natural type of turf that they have gotten assurances that there isn't forever chemicals within them, and also microplastics, right? That there's a difference there and the impacts that it has in our water, and then also for our young people. So that's just my request to you, kind of a little bit outside of the scope of the quasi-judicial, but I support it for the things that are within it, but just taking this moment to have you advocate and kind of look into a healthier material for the students there.
All right, thank you so much. Seeing no one else, all those in favor to grant the appeal or on the motion from Councilmember, say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed say nay. The ayes have it, and the motion carries. All right, next we have. First I want to take up an item 27, 28, and 29, which are liquor license approvals and renewals for Los Andes. I'm going to motion to refer to the staff. Is there any questions from my colleagues? Nope, no questions.
What are we doing next? Just point of clarification very quickly. As we're motioning to staff, what is the next step? Just really quick.
Chair Osman, Councilmember Chowdhury, we will take we're reviewing some more information related to these applications. We have to take some time to look through that information, and then we'll be returning back to the City Council with a new recommendation.
Okay, we'll look forward to getting that information ahead of our business. Appreciate it.
Right, thank you. On that motion, to refer back to the staff, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed say nay. The ayes have it, and the motion carries. Lastly, we are discussing the selection of a new operator for Kohl Center. I would like to welcome staff to give us a presentation. Welcome.
Chair Osmond and council members. I'm Miles Mercer, Manager of Business Development in the Department of Community Planning and Economic Development, and we have just enough time to get this item into the meeting. Joining us is my colleague Ben Johnson, Director of the Department of Arts and Cultural Affairs. Today, we seek approval to enter into a use lease agreement with the organization Arts Nest, who, in collaboration with Xenon Dance Company and School, would become the new operator of the Kohl Center, located on downtown Hennepin Avenue. I'll turn it over to Ben in a minute to describe how we got to this recommendation. The reason we need to enter into this agreement is because the renovation of the Kohl Center 15 years ago used $12 million in bonding money from the state of Minnesota. Those state bond funds required the city to have an ownership interest in the property, which the city got in December 2009 through a 50-year ground lease. The bond funds also require the facility to carry out a governmental program, which in this case is to establish and maintain a performing arts and education center for the purposes of public education and dance, music, and other performances and other related ancillary functions. By entering into the use lease agreement, the city will be contracting with Arts Nest in collaboration with Xenon to provide this governmental program. This use lease agreement will last for an initial term of 12 years with potential renewals lasting up to December 2059. There is no rent because of the bond funds. However, Arts Nest will be responsible for all operating, programming, and maintenance costs. Other terms are attached to the RCA. And now I'll turn it over to Ben to talk about the community engagement and selection process that led to this recommendation.
Good afternoon, Chair Osmond and council members. I'm Ben Johnson, Arts and Cultural Affairs Director for the City of Minneapolis. I also want to acknowledge the role that several of my staff have played in maintaining this process this year, Addie Gonzalez and Cassie Garner, and thank them for that work, as well as the CPED team. We also have here Jenna Popke, who's the Executive Director of the Arts Nest, sitting over there, and Danielle Robinson-Prater, who's the Director of the Xenon Dance School, who's also sitting over there. So in January 2024, the former Kohl Center for Dance operator, ArtSpace, notified the city of its intent to terminate the lease use agreement due to its inability to continue the operations of the facility and governmental program past March 2024. In April 2024, the city took responsibility of the facility and assumed the property management agreement with the Performance Property Management Company, an affiliate of ArtSpace Projects. The facility has remained closed, secured, and monitored since then. As a response to the closure, the dance and arts community self-organized and gathered together and hosted 3 different town halls to discuss the ramifications and impact to our community, which had impacts both locally and nationally. They hosted town halls at the Women's Club, online with the Minneapolis Artists Coalition, and also at the Center for the Performing Arts in South Minneapolis. The dance community addressed their concerns to the city, and as a result, we advocated for ongoing support through the Bridge Fund for Dance program, which is administered through Arts and Cultural Affairs. We also hosted a gathering of major downtown businesses and cultural stakeholders to determine if they could also have a role in ensuring the future success of this venue to be an important cultural and economic asset for the whole city. In October 2024, the city released a request for proposals to find the new operator of the Kohl Center facility. The deadline was February 3rd, 2025. The city received 2 proposals, one from Hennepin Arts and another from a collaboration between Arts Nest and Xenon Dance Company and School. City staff reviewed the responses and interviewed both applicants to discuss the content of the submitted proposals. There are a number of significant reasons that Arts Nest and Xenon were selected, but some of the important reasons include Xenon's long-standing history of activating downtown Minneapolis and the Hennepin Center for the Arts, which has been a hub for dance education, and creative expression, community engagement for over 40 years. This will represent a reinvigoration of this facility and its adjacency to the Kohls because of their reputation and their status in the community. Also, we found that Arts Nest's commitment to supporting local artists and audiences and their 10-year 15-year track record of managing a historic venue in South Minneapolis, and with their inspired collaboration with Xenon, made this pairing the right choice for this time. As we know, Minneapolis is a major creative engine for the entire state, and one of our really unique and powerful arts identities is that we are known for is that Minneapolis is home to one of the few world-class national centers for dance in America, and dance and performance in all forms, I might add. When it was closed, there was a national outcry, as this venue is seen as such an important platform for artists to receive local benefit and national attention, and to get on the radar for touring and funding. The Kohls is the primary tool that showcases, supports, and incubates our dancers, choreographers, technicians, funders, and audiences, and it represents a direct investment in our city's creative future. And we believe it's a real proud moment for the entire community to rally around this important cultural institution and to help preserve and sustain its cultural heritage and legacy. With that, take any questions.
Thank you so much. I will recognize Councilmember Cashman.
Thank you so much, Chair Osman. Can't let this moment pass by, even at the end of our meeting, to just thank you so much for your leadership on this and for saving the Kohls. I mean, this is one of the first issues that came up when I became a council member, and hundreds of dancers started reaching out, asking us to save the Kohls, and truly, thanks to you, we've been able to do that. So this is really exciting news, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the building and community come back to life in this space. Can you give us a sense of the timeline here, as well as what other performing arts beyond just dance we can expect to see thriving in this space?
Thank you through Councilmember Osman through to Councilmember Cashman. So we're working on kind of a time frame of a 6-month time frame, and looking at January 1st as a time frame to turn over the keys to the new operator. And I think that we're primarily focused on ensuring that there is a robust presence for the dance community, because that's historically what has been presented at that venue. But we're really looking at all forms of performing arts, as also well as being an asset for downtown businesses, the public schools, other cultural arts organizations. So we also want to be open to any opportunity that presents itself, so it's maximized in its use, not just sort of sitting empty or half empty, as some of the venues seem to be.
Okay. Well, thanks so much. Happy to move this item for approval.
Are there any other? Yes, Councilmember Rainville.
Thank you. Director Johnson, could you explain, you say there's no cost to the city for maintenance and upkeep. Did I hear that right? So how is it determined what needs to be maintained and what needs to be kept up?
Chair Osman and Councilmember Rainville. So the city is currently responsible for the property. So we are maintaining the property right now. But once we enter into this use lease agreement, that responsibility for the facility and maintaining it will fall to Arts Nest.
Thank you. But my question is, who will determine what needs to be repaired or replaced?
They will. Part of their annual report to the city also will be about what the capital needs of the facility are and what their plans for funding it. So that'll be part of the ongoing monitoring that we do with this facility, as well as we do with the other state bond-funded deals we oversee.
So they report the capital needs, the replacement. Do we verify that then? Or do we just accept it as face value?
We'll take a look at it. We don't commission our own independent study.
Thank you. I'd like to talk to you offline about that, Ben.
Councilmember Allison.
Director Johnson, just wanted to take this opportunity just to thank you for your leadership. I know that when we first were having discussions many, many years ago about consolidating all of our arts departments and streamlining it, I'll say I was, even as an artist, I was a former artist, I was a little skeptical about, like, okay, but every department kind of has their niche, and, you know, people kind of get used to the old system. I think you've demonstrated just how necessary that step was, and you know, being proactive, and not just a city that is blessed and lucky to have a robust arts community and great artists, but also your proactivity in making sure that you engage with the arts community, that you make sure that we can open the Cal Center, vibrant storefronts, at least from my vantage point, and the people who I know who have engaged is a tremendous program. And so, I know that there's partnership between departments. There's, CPED does a tremendous job, and I know that CPED knows capital needs and buildings really well. I think that you've demonstrated that you know people really well, that you know artists really well, and so just want to thank you for that and say, yet another win for you and your team, and I'm excited to continue supporting the work, and you make it easy. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Seeing no. Oh, did you motion already? Yes. With the motion from Councilmember Cashman, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed say nay. The ayes have it and the motion carries. All right, seeing no further business before us with no objection, I will declare this meeting adjourned. Thank you.